I am a CEO and co-founder of CodeWell AI. We are a deep tech company that specializes in conversational artificial intelligence. In an essence, what we do is we create digital assistants with our technology that are capable of understanding basically any language on a human level. And thus, we help companies and institutions automate mass customer communication. What is usually the case, we help them automate up to 90% of all digital interactions with their customers. This topic is particularly interesting for me as I've incorporated my first tech company 12 years ago in Skopje, just an hour away from here in North Macedonia. So I personally witnessed and I've been part of the formation of the startup ecosystem in our country. I witnessed how IT changed our country, but also how it shifted the entire business landscape, becoming the main growth driver in the region, I would say. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. I think the biggest question here is like, can the Western Balkans really become the leading digital hub of Europe, right? My answer is absolutely. Are we there yet though? Well, not really. However, I truly believe that if we focus on the right things and thus skip a few steps down the road, we can make this a reality and quite fast. Josephine had 3. I have 5 items on my list that I believe that we need to really focus and address to really make this our reality in the next few years. The first is access to talent. We all know here that here in the Western Balkans, we have a highly educated and a very talented workforce. On top of the people that are graduating from the IT colleges in the country, we are seeing more and more people every single day pursuing alternative ways of education in IT, like never before, actually. And even with that being the case, hiring the right talent right now, today, is harder than ever, harder than 10 years ago. One of the main reasons for this, I believe, is with the whole shift towards the remote working model, which was primarily popularized by the COVID-19 pandemic. It came as a reaction, I would say. But now the local or the IT companies that are incorporated locally are competing over that same talent pool with the global tech giants and Silicon Valley startups with hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. Meaning that gaining a competitive edge when it comes to salary is really, really challenging, which is bringing me to my second point, which is access to funding. So number 2 on the list is access to funding. And we've seen progress made on this topic in the past few years, but I think there is still a lack of venture capital in the region. So if you take a look at the regional scene, the startups that are past the seed stage, the progressive ones, usually need to look for funding opportunities in Western Europe or in the United States. One of the main reasons for this is, even if they're really successful in the pursuit of getting this international venture capital and fundraising, what is usually the case is that the investors would require the startup to either relocate their headquarters in their own country or at least reincorporate and move the intellectual property to some EU country, most probably. One of the main reasons for this is because the laws in the startup country of origin usually does not allow the implementation of the widely accepted mechanisms that are part of the venture capital world for the protection of the investors' interests. So amending the laws to be more startup friendly is really the third item on my list. I believe that that the governments should really amend the laws to make processes such as incorporation. Josephine touched based on incorporation in like 10 days, 3 days. I believe that also dissolution of the companies is really important. So processes that are like core, like incorporation and dissolution, should be done effortlessly and fast. But also look at some of the widely accepted templates for, I don't know, shareholders agreements, convertible loan agreements, and look at all those mechanisms that venture capitalists are using to protect their interest, and see which mechanisms are special and not possible with the current laws, or just the laws to make them possible. And on top of that, as a bonus, maybe change a few procedures to make the country more attractive towards international investors, international startups, and of course international talent as well. Digitalization by local startups is the fourth item on my list. I truly believe that every government should have a dedicated body within their organization that will closely follow the progressive, the well-established startup in their country and in the region, and analyze the benefits of implementing their own solutions for the processes of digitalization of the government and the governmental institutions. Just look at the well-established leading startups in Web 3.0, in artificial intelligence, in blockchain, etc., and have them pitch you what are the processes they can either automate, make faster, more accessible, secure, and whatnot to actually achieve these goals. I truly believe that if the government starts implementing the solutions from the progressive local startups into their own processes, we would skip a few steps into the digitalization of the governments and the country in total, but also save a great amount of money and resources by doing so. And last but not least, I think we should really focus on number 5 on my list. Is really focused towards exporting high-tech products instead of exporting brains. We all know that the Western Balkans has been on the forefront of exporting experts and brains and expertise globally into the global markets for far too long. And I think that for far too long, we've been losing our best and brightest to the tech giants of the world. I truly believe that if we change the focus from providing services and outsourcing our experts in one way or another, and shift the focus towards helping those progressive companies get more exposure and export their products internationally, but also if we find less success in stories like, because we're in the region, we're really proud of stories like our engineers work for Google and work for Apple and Amazon and Facebook and whatnot, and motivate more stories like the Croatian Rimac automobile, for example, I think we'll have much higher value and benefit of it, because the potential that we'll see more unicorns from the region will become solely from that. So I truly believe that if the countries in the Western Balkans really focus on these 5 things and we really put an effort to work on them, we have a really good chance of becoming one of the, if not the leading, but one of the top digital hubs of Europe. Thank you.